We're live. Oh, hang on, I haven't sorted my camera out.
Hi, gang. We're
Oliver's,
back
Hi.
again with my mates' creative podcast.
Do you think
No.
the
There we go.
four presidents on the rock face in America?
Yeah.
So Noel Gallagher got asked if it was the same but in Britain for the White Cliffs of Dover. Like which four people would you put on it?
They presumably don't have to be a politician.
Bernard
No.
Matthews.
Bernard Matthews,
Yeah.
Gary Lineker.
Yeah.
Cilla Black.
Gary Lineker, Ian Wright, Cilla Black, and Linford Christie.
Yeah. Done.
What a
No.
lineup.
Yeah, well, Noel Gallagher did it, and he put Steve Coogan in as one of his, which I thought was quite funny.
Yeah, it's quite as Partridge, I suppose. When it's just his face,
As Alan Partridge.
it doesn't make any difference, does it? 'Cause
You
he
could just
looks
have.
like him.
Can you just have the other three faces? Could just be letters, and they just say "aha" next to him. That'd be a good greeting from when you come back from Europe, wouldn't it?
I wonder what Alan Partridge would have as his four on there.
Oof.
Some really like Terry Wogan or
Someone who's really, someone who
Jeremy Clarkson. for
really
sure.
big business
Jeremy
mogul.
Clark. Yeah, someone from a really dated
What's
early
his name?
80s.
Richard Branson.
Richard
Yeah.
Branson. Yeah.
And Tony Hall probably, although not over the last couple of days, but
Tony Hawk.
Tony Hall.
Oh right.
Oh, Tony Hall. So, you think that would open it up to loads of conversation?
open the floodgates.
But
No, well,
Got time for idle chit chat, mate.
we're going to talk about
I know, right? What was I thinking?
inspiration and places. Like last week, after the podcast, you were suggested about talking about the idea of a muse, which is
The myth of the muse,
Myth of
really,
Muse.
isn't it?
So what's the myth? So as a sort of rough definition, a muse in this context is a person or a body that you get inspiration from, I suppose.
Yeah, it's not that like it's a bit of an abstract thing. It's this like idea that you're waiting around for that like perfect idea. Your muse can just be like when the time feels right. It's just waiting for the muse. But it's this idea of waiting around until you get that inspiration, and how that really that is a bad way to work.
Yeah. So it's
Because,
really,
like,
do you think that there's no idea is perfect on the first iteration, or hardly any? I wouldn't have thought.
No, I'd agree with that. I think that all ideas are much better when they're edited, if you know what I mean. Like whatever you put down first will seem great, but it's probably the most obvious thing. So you kind of need to actually get everything down and then take most of it out and replace it with something else that is a little bit more original.
Or do you think ideas are sort of universally improved by committee, or do you think just doing it by yourself is going to come out with a better product? Because I feel like probably my best stuff has been through collaboration.
Yeah.
Annoyingly so, yeah.
Yeah, I think that kind of probably depends. Well, I suppose, yeah. I think collaboration in everything, because even if you're like just thinking of like solo writer, you still send it off to an editor and a publisher and all the rest of it, don't you? So I think
That's true.
There's always an element of other people's involvement in your work.
Send it off to someone else so they can completely change it.
Yeah.
Do you play your stuff to your partners? Like, literally the closest people in your life, but do you actually play or show off your work to them
I
first?
have done. Certainly, like anything new, any new project that I'm getting off the ground, I certainly do, because I think it helps. And like the first albums I made, because I was just making them like for the most obvious, like making them stuff that I wanted to listen to rather than just fit a specific brief. We used to listen through them, and my wife would offer some feedback and stuff like that. I mean, I didn't play the 20-track drill album because
No,
it's not.
you're listening to
interesting.
this.
Yeah.
Do you think, have you found that B's got a bit of a style to what she prefers with your stuff, or what she tends to make
yeah,
more comments
I think so.
on?
Like the first albums that I did for my agent guy were like 07 Air sort of albums, because that's just what I was listening to a lot at the time, and that stuff is pretty universal in terms of its appeal, isn't it? When you start to think about, when you start moving towards the more brief, specific ones, they're just not general listening albums like 12 film trailers in a row. You heard one of them, that's about enough. They're all the same.
Yeah.
Have they all got kettle drums in them?
A lot of them have, yeah.
That's what I hear when I think of trailers. I think of.
And then like a bit of silence, and then burp. Big.
Yeah.
That was a trumpet, by the way.
I do always show my stuff to Jane, my other half, but I don't. I think it can be a bit of an uncomfortable thing, really, because you're a bit too close. I always prefer to look out for groups who are other people doing the same thing. Like when I was doing lots of writing, I'd joined loads of writing groups, and you get proper critique then, without it being like this. Oh my God, you've done this thing! Isn't that amazing? It's like it's a load of other people who've done that thing, and they're just like, yeah, it's all right. It's a bit shit, that bit. You get a bit more of a sort of level feedback and criticism. I think I always show everyone, because it's good to share it about and that, isn't it? But
how do you take it's all right, but it's a bit shit that?
Well, it's not quite as basic as that, but it's like usually the bits that usually the bits that they pick up on, they're like, yeah, that bit didn't quite work or whatever. They're usually the bits that they didn't work anyway, and you just couldn't be bothered you couldn't think of a way out of it. And I think then when you hear other people say it enough, you're like, right, yeah, that does need sorting. I can't just get away with it, if you know what I mean.
I can't work out what I think when people come in, especially to my studio, and they don't say anything when I've got new work right there in front of them. I cannot work out how.
Well, and they know that it's new work because they
just go.
Before. Yeah.
There's loads of reasons why someone wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, they're not all bad either. They just might be not want to interfere in your process.
But depending what mood you're in, sometimes they come in, don't say anything. They're all bad, It's like,
but
it's right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I comment on someone's if they've got a nice thermos in their hand. I think it's in my nature to be a bit more like that. So when people, but everyone is so different.
How are you? How are you at criticizing though?
I like to think I'm pretty good, actually. As long as it's constructive, which it generally is. I mean, I think it's so important that I find it incredibly useful, man. And a lot of the time, it is stuff that you know yourself that.
Do people send you stuff on it? Because I've got an email address on my website for people to send me stuff specifically for feedback, and it's mainly students. It's all Leeds students, because I think my obviously still get a lot of traffic from Leeds. Do you get people sending you stuff on Instagram going, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I get people I try, and people send me work, and then they say, how can I add a bit more color, and they keep sending me stuff. And it's a funny process. I mean, it's tricky at times because you've
got to find something positive about everything that you get sent. I think it's like you said, like the sandwich approach. I did realise that's probably an approach I take. Kind of,
Well, we're all happy to get sandwiched. I don't mind it.
No,
you're a great guy. That's shit, but I can't wait to see more.
Great
Can't
cheese.
Can't wait to see the better version.
But I can't wait to see something that's good.
Yeah, it's just a pilot, isn't it?
This isn't it. This isn't finished, right? No. My brother's said one quite a few times, which is stuck in my head, that he keeps saying that certain things are a bit flat. And it's amazing how all these one-off things that you've all said, everyone who knows me, you've said something along the way that goes into like the top stockpile of things that are always there when I'm getting through paintings, and they all come in some sort of weird order depending on stuff, but they all come in at some point, something that all of you have said, and they all like, you're all in like this big room in my head, and it's like,
I can imagine this really dodgy like 70s Murder She Wrote episode with these heads just flashing in going, it's too bright, it's too flat, it's too...
Yeah, and everyone's in sort of like when you're at a party and everyone is in like smaller groups. So there's a few of you over the here with this kind of vibe, like, you know, the guy says it's too flat, the guy says it's, you know, really flat. But and then and you know, it's really helpful. And then I got a whole other room of loads of versions of me.
When I was mixing down songs for a Swedish guy, which was like a few years ago now, he'd send the finished, or like the you know, the first draft of the finished track off to some like online focus group type thing for you know, like critiquing, and then you get like, I don't know, it must have been, I feel like it was a subscription thing that he paid for. And then like you'd get like, you know, 100 reviews back on the track, which is quite interesting.
That is amazing.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of those things out there, I think.
Yeah,
Facebook pages and stuff.
Yeah.
That's the place in it to get critiqued. Facebook.
Oh, God.
What do you think of this?
Take some balls, man. As I say, like, you think I don't know. There's so many levels to it. The general public, if you're putting your work out there, and literally asking for constructive criticism, and that is some scary stuff, really. Because I mean, people can really say what they want.
Yeah, I think it's you've got to play the part yourself, though, of like being the sifter, haven't you? And like, I think it's like a numbers game, and if one person says something, it doesn't really matter. If that thing keeps coming up, then it's probably a problem. If there's only one person who doesn't like it, it's just a subjective thing.
Yeah, you're probably trying to find the mean piece of the average.
That's like, it, yeah. Whereas if everyone's stopping on the same point and flagging it up, they might have different things to say, but you know that point is then...
Chin's way too big.
Yeah.
You feel like you often go further when you knew it might have been better earlier on, and you end up going too far.
Used to, definitely used to. Yeah, like when I used to send stuff to mastering, it'd be like, this is just too ridiculous, way too much saturation on it, or whatever. Yeah. And then you learn, don't you?
Do you make like a copy? Do you duplicate, a file of something, and where you can always go back to that version and then move on, try and make a better version, but you've always got.
I know what you mean.
Save a copy.
Yeah.
If I'm working on a song, I tend to get like for my publisher, I'm very much of the opinion that you should always be moving forwards, and if you make a change, you've made that change. And you don't want to be like skipping back to an earlier version going, I don't know which one's right. But if I'm doing something for a client and it's like a big job, and then I do save a copy, because a client can quite easily go, actually, I prefer the last one. And you go, I fucking deleted it. So you got no choice.
I had to delete loads of layers because there wasn't enough room on my computer. So
I my 8 tracks.
yeah. I've only got the free version of the
software. I really wish I think it feels at the moment like I wish I could do such a thing with certain paintings and stuff. I've never overworked stuff so much.
But you can only I mean, we talked about it a bit last week, but surely you can only really ever be moving forwards with an actual painting.
I think maybe moving forward with like a bigger body of work or a change, I am, but in the smaller, from painting to painting or from thing to thing, you have moments where especially when you feel like you have a breakthrough where you do feel like you are making progress. But I've had quite a few days where it's not like I'm not making progress, but it's you just want to stop and start a new style, because there's nothing worse than seeing work that reminds you of things that you don't like in painting.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff, I think it's because some of them are commissions at the moment I'm doing. Some of it I just like, if I saw someone painting that, I would not like it. You know, when you see your own work and you're like, I wouldn't like that if that was.
Yeah.
I hate that feeling, man.
Yeah.
Ah,
Do you have any motivation to start a massive painting? Like, something which is just like ludicrously way bigger than anything you've painted before.
All the time. And a lot of my favorite, like modern artists, Instagram artists, people who are very much alive and killing it. Most of them paint massive and they paint what they want. Like, yesterday, when I was really frustrated, one of my favorite artists, she does landscapes and she does like really colorful, beautiful flowers. And she put one up and she put the price as well, which I never see. It was like 12 grand and it was beautiful. It was like everything about it. I just thought that's amazing. And it was 12 grand and it kind of threw me for a second. It made me want to just
uploads one of them every day.
She does one a week.
Right.
And she's been doing it for, well, no, not necessarily that, but her goal was to do one painting a week. And she's kept it up for like 2 years. And it looks, we were talking about this the other week, it looks like from an outsider, like she's posting every day, even though it's once a week, because it's a once a week when it's a full painting. It's like, but it's so achievable, that, especially landscape. I could definitely do that. But it made me kind of want to stop everything I was doing and do something like that. Make a massive canvas and do something different and almost sod everything off and like literally call people up. Well, I'm not going to call them up, am I? Literally send people messages and go, I can't finish this commission. I just can't.
Yeah.
And just, and that's fine until, doesn't possibly work out and all your money runs out and you're like, but that I'm not saying, I mean, that's the kind of thing I would do and try and get away with it. But
so
it's a tough one.
Your muse very much isn't in the room on lots of these paintings that you're doing at the moment.
Can you say that in a different way? The muse thing, even when you tell me what it is, I get lost. Can you say it in an easier way, Rob?
Well, not really, because it's like a well-established concept.
No, I can't. All right, say it again. I'll try and answer that.
So you're...
Your muse in the room.
Creative, mate.
Fucking divvy. I love how you can't say it.
So you have your inspiration isn't behind those then, really, is what essentially it boils down to.
My inspiration
there's no inspiration there to do them. It's hard work.
I think the content is stuff that I try not to say yes to these kind of commissions, but sometimes there's a side of you and it seems like it makes sense at the time and you go, and I'll do it for this much and yeah. And then when you come to do it, some of them you realize why you have to try and put your foot down, because it makes you just not like what you're doing, because you paint, the subject is something so far from what you would have in your own life. It's like all the birth, and it's hard to. It's like you polishing a turd before you even started. I don't know, man. It's weird at the moment. I thought I'm getting better and worse at the same time. I must be getting better because I'm painting more than ever, and I'm painting with better materials, and I'm better setup. Everything's better, but I'm also I don't feel I like what I'm painting at the moment most of the time. Yeah,
I feel like a lot of the albums that I've worked on, whilst I try and start out with something that I know that I think's going to interest me for 12 songs, halfway through it, and I end up binning a few off generally because you go, I'm not going to be able to finish this. I'm going to get like 9 songs finished, and you go, I've got to do another 4 of these. Like, I don't know.
So, question.
That is, sorry, just before we carry on, that is very much the the full-time employment thing as well. Really, like it's the same. It's the same thing. You're making money off of what you're doing, but it's not really. I always call it, or Jane always calls it, creative adjacent, because it's like your creative skills, but not quite as you intend to employ them. If you see what I mean.
Yeah, I love that word, adjacent.
Yeah.
It's on my list.
Creative Jason.
Creative Jason.
Do you have a couch, Andy, in that room?
No, not anymore. I've run out of space. I did used to.
Because it's a funny old part of the day I find a lot where my head's gone fuzzy and it's not, I don't know what I'm doing, and to take a step back, but to not leave the room, where you sort of sit somewhere else and sort of stare at things. And I don't know, a lot of things I find that you sort of give it a break and then suddenly something kicks in and you makes you get back up and go back. So I can imagine with music, you don't want to take too much of a break, but suddenly your brain goes, oh, actually, let me try this.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Right, you're hitting your own internal buffer, really, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you need to process what you've done to actually let it filter through. And
I try and take 10 minutes away from mixing every hour if I'm doing a full day of mixing to listen to someone else. But
go and watch Bargain Hunt.
I'd listen to like a podcast or a bit of an interview or something, just something that's just human voice, because it's pretty feel like it's more natural sounding and it sounds like resets your ears.
Yeah.
But new studio, hopefully if we get this other gaff that we're looking at, it's got the big studio space in the garden. There'll be a space in there for a sofa, so I'll definitely re-employ a sofa in there.
What sofa would you have if it was a style thing over comfort? Would you go for this sort of studded, what do they call it, Chesterfield?
I do. They are. I can't see it fitting in with like the style of studio that I'm probably going to end up going for. That being said, it probably would be a leather sofa, but the Chesterfield thing's a bit too much like silk smoking jacket, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a bit,
and would you want one that's super comfy that you can almost lie on, or do you want it to be, something that's not too comfy?
Like a sort of a 70s looking thing with like really thin wooden legs.
Just a fucking wooden box.
Long.
No, I'd probably have a comfy. I think I'd go for a comfy leather sofa. I'll just nick one of the ones from downstairs.
Yeah, I don't think it makes you. Yeah, I've got it's not actually mine, but the one that's still in the studio is big enough to fully lie down on.
Yeah.
And, I suppose you would think maybe that's not a good thing, because it makes you think, well, I could just lie down, but no, it actually doesn't. It's enough to just sit down. I can't do him. I can't do him. I prefer to just stand there crying, like tears run down my face. It's just like I could just have a nap.
I can't nap. No, it's a lot of. We think we talked about it before, didn't we? It's like some people are into it.
Yeah, loads. That daily rituals, man. It was like so common for all these genius of their industries and creatives who have naps. It was really common. Like I think you would. Yeah, I suppose you would feel great in some ways. I think if you were that routine with it.
The danger of having a sofa in this potential new studio spaces, because it won't have any windows. Pretty easy just to fall asleep.
Spend your life in there.
Then come out of the building, you go, fuck, it's 3 a.m.
Done any, yeah. It's when you kind of do have a little sleep like that, and it's a time of day where by the time you wake up, you're like, I haven't done anything today.
No.
You sort of It's like crappy, like 4:45 or something. And you're like,
Yeah, have a pot noodle and then go to bed, mate.
yeah, it's just like, you know, you were too tired to properly work before it, and you had a little sleepy, and then you come out of it, and it's like, well, it's almost the end of the day, which it really
I got well
isn't in
into
the
them at one
summer.
point, man. I just used to have like a half an hour nap at lunchtime or whatever. It was so good. I got into it after reading a Murakami book, and he was always napping. He used to have naps in the middle of the day, and I was like, I'm going to give this a go. Got well into it, mate. But I was unemployed at the time, so can't really do that. Not, can you?
No, not if you're a driving instructor.
Carry on. I'll give you the route. Wake up when you get there.
Napping in the boot, getting into a habit of napping in the boot. What is happening? Yeah, I don't know if.
All right.
Yeah.
Good topic, that one. So next week, I suppose we just make sure we all know what it is.
One thing I did want to talk about, like just diverging a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like your channel, your YouTube channel, Rob, and your most recent video is performing better. We talked about it last week. It's performing better than like your other ones have done.
Yeah.
Like, do you think what sort of things do you think that's down to?
I think it's probably
nice
because it's at Bempton Cliffs, which is like quite a popular spot. So people often go there, and if they're going there, there's lots of photographers go there. So they'll probably be looking at other people's videos to see what sort of ideas,
what they can get,
what sort of shots they can get, and what
yeah.
have you.
So inspire so you could. I suppose a way to test it would be to go to do something at a similarly popular place.
Yeah.
Which they're not. Bempton it's very well known. So
yeah, it's I don't know really. It's a bit of a thing, isn't it? Like I've been working on keywords and stuff as well, but I don't know how much that has to do with it on YouTube. Really, I know my impressions have gone up a lot. I've got like
the thumbnail's pretty important, isn't it?
Yeah.
See on this on when you put the title and stuff into the live stream, when you have to put some tags in and stuff, it says that it ranks. Don't worry about your tags too much because it ranks them really low in terms of
never used to be like that.
Searchability, no. They just
I've had
mix it up, don't they?
3,125 impressions. So that's appeared on 3,100. I'd say I don't know where that's come from. I don't know
3,000 muses.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's perhaps because I'm uploading a bit more and my engagement is at a reasonable level with like what people like and comments and stuff. So I don't know whether that pushes it up in the algorithm somehow. I don't know how it works really.
And can you? I don't know how much of the stats you've looked at. Have you looked at there's like a view percentage, isn't it? How much?
Yeah, it's like well over 50%.
Pretty good.
Which is good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically people are either watching it entirely or dropping off straight away. Kind of, I guess.
Yeah, that's it.
If that's how it works, don't know.
I mean, I love really good, Rob. I watched both of them after this last week. Was it?
Yeah.
And it was doing all the things that you kind of want from even us doing it, or generally like you want to go out and start and finish a video and post it. That's what I get inspired by when I watch things, and it makes me want to go and do a video, especially on outdoors where there's like a really nice like story to tell in a condensed kind of way. I mean, it's great shots, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a good location at Bempton.
Like the photos that you put in, like they just kept on coming. It was it's a really good one of the gannet fully spread eagled, but with a gannet spread gannet
with his head under the wing.
Yeah, but it's like it's right in the middle of the in composition, because the next one is like a bit higher. But you got one right in the middle, and it was just great, man. And as I said in the WhatsApp, you get in closer to how you talk.
Yeah, that's it, innit? That's important, innit?
So that made me that's gonna be. I can't wait to see more of them because it's like there's no way that you're gonna go backwards.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's good to get feedback as well. Like, I've had my first like non-friend people commenting as well, which has been quite good. I think that's always a big marker, isn't it?
What did it say?
You video shit. I don't like you.
I don't like you as a person.
Yeah, I spotted that. It was another photography bloke,
It was,
wasn't it?
yeah. And I've just had another one whilst we've been on air, actually. So.
Have you?
You just always got it on in the background.
Well, it pops up
Filthy
on your phone,
bitch.
doesn't it? Because it's on your thingy.
Another comment.
I think so, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've
nice.
just got notifications.
Well, let's have a look at it now, live on air.
Let's have a look at the comment. I bet you someone's watching this and then they've gone on their other phone and their other phone doesn't matter.
Great vid, buddy. I'm off there next week too. Can't wait. Have a new subscriber. There you go.
Boom. Love it. Right on cue.
There you go. I'm going to like it live on air.
Watch live liking with the Creative Podcast.
On other pages that isn't this one.
But you can't even see because I'm not sharing my screen. I'm still enjoying doing the Twitch. I mean, I haven't the Twitch. I'm still enjoying twitching. I don't know. It's quite a good tie-in, really. But I've been a bit busy this week, so I've not managed to do it as regularly. But when I realised I decided to change it up a bit going forwards, that I'm going to have this 2-camera setup and you can switch between the cameras just with a hotkey on your keyboard. So I've managed to figure all that out. So
easy as that, yeah.
Yeah. So I can use my phone as a second camera.
Okay, cool.
Pretty cool. What got me to start thinking about it was I didn't get any views at all last week. And normally you get a few. I went back on there today to sort of like prepare for like next week, and I realised that I'd left it in vacation mode from when I'd been on holiday, so it was just streaming to nobody. I'm not getting any fucking views.
Oh, your computer was on vacation.
It's like your Twitch channel, you can say you're on vacation so that you don't get like penalised for not posting.
That's quite a good incentive. That if you got penalised for not posting,
well, you get sort of
make me prolific.
You need to post regularly, don't you, to people know that you're like for the algorithm and stuff. But I obviously left it all switched to vacation mode. So I was just like wasted.
Just posting to no one.
Yeah, wasted about 6 hours of my week.
That is a waste.
Talking to yourself.
And a really busy week.
That is a nightmare.
Well, I don't want to take away from that, but I was struggling with that word waste this weekend. I couldn't work out, even with my own sort of mentalities of how I see certain things. I couldn't help hearing that word in my head, waste. I tried to make a mask out of foam yesterday for a music video, and I thought I'd use foam instead of cardboard, from like back 15 years ago. I was like, I got all these things, and I was trying to use a glue gun. Haven't used one in about 15 years, and all these things that I haven't. And I was a bit hungover, to be honest, and I was trying to make this basic spherical kind of top part, like almost like a helmet. And I could do the bit that went over the top and the circular bit, the band that went around, but trying to get the side bits that made it kind of like like a dome.
Yeah.
I was just like getting it wrong, and I got so little done over quite a few hours. And I remember I sort of left the studio thinking, like, it really felt like a waste. Like I'd wasted away a day. I didn't feel like, well, I've learned something from it. It just felt like a total waste. And then today I kind of managed to do it in some sort of other way. But
I've got a video for you.
Just like
Adam Savage, who used to do
Adam Sandler.
He used to do Mythbusters. He's got a really good YouTube channel called
I've
Tested.
seen a lot of them.
He goes to a puppet making place, and the test that they give all the people who are coming to do apprenticeships to see if they get onto the apprenticeship is to make a sphere, but make like 2 domes to what you're trying to do, and it shows exactly how they make it. So that's a video worth watching.
Yeah, I need to watch that. I mean, I was
trying
to find such a thing on YouTube at the time. I was going down I was asking YouTube the wrong questions, but it was so stupid because. And then I used cardboard, and I sort of got something so quick to what I was trying to do compared to like gluing it with foam. It was so fast. It was like did it in about 10 minutes, and the other thing took me like hours, and I felt like I was going nowhere with it. And as I was saying before, I kept sitting down and staring at this random thing that I'd built, and like it was sat on a mannequin head, and I just kept staring at it. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I don't know how to sort this problem out.
I don't know. Yeah, and I kind of left feeling crap, and it was a weird one. I've pretty much made a buffalo head today, but I don't even know if I like it. Don't know.
That's a tricky one. But maybe your sort of opinion on it is being tainted by your experience.
Yeah, I'd like, if you did that same kind of thing, if I did it over and over again for the next month, I would be super efficient of it.
When's it need to be done by?
I've got to do 2 of them. And I've been really looking forward to doing it. And it is kind of fun, but it is weird when you get to a point when you look at it and go, well, it's not bad, but once that's and also I think I was a bit disappointed with how long it took, and how long it's still going to take. And I kind of assumed that I would smash it by now.
There's nothing worse.
That I felt disappointed with.
When you're in a bit of work, I've had that with a couple of these videos I've been doing lately, and it's like you think you're done, and you put it all together, and you're like, it's gonna be another trip out.
Obviously,
go and do it. Like I've got another day out basically to go and pick up.
That's quite a thing. I think that's probably quite it's a lot more common with like something like filming, or like something which is like a more of a physical medium, like art form. With music, or something that I'm doing in the studio, if you need to make change, like with the film, you've got to schedule in another whole session to go out filming, and it's like you can't just sort it out now. You got to go, wow, I have to sort it out in like 2 days, and then you've got to edit and do more editing and stuff. It's definitely not an issue that happens so much for me, because you can kind of sort stuff out straight away.
Yeah.
As long as you're not on vacation mode, you're fine, Andy.
Well, yeah, that's it. You got your own things to battle. But that is always the fear with video. It's like, a lot of the time with stuff we're doing for work and whatever, like there is no second chance because the people have gone. So you've got to get it. Like you have to be, organised, because there's no like, oh, can you just, come back up from Brighton again because we forgot to get you saying goodbye or whatever. Like, so you got to be prepared for it.
Yeah. Just cutting a really bad piece of like phone footage of them
saying
goodbye.
Yeah. Just some completely other different person dressed as them.
They're facing away from the camera to try and trick them.
But yeah, it's very frustrating.
That like starting again is well funny, man. It's I don't know what the rules are for like what's too far to, for me, I'm 2 weeks into one of my paintings, and there's so many times where I want to purposely wreck it and then paint it and sand over it and start again. But I picture a lot of people close, like anyone who knows me, I picture them saying, it was good. Like, what were you doing? Why that is a tough area, because the amount of times when I have started again, it's been better, and you smash it really quick because you know what you've been through, all the crap. But sometimes it's like I probably shouldn't like start again. This is like I've spent a lot of time getting to this point with it.
Yeah, that's tricky. Like, so if you carried on with the same painting but it took you, so these were the two options. You carry on with the same painting and it takes you 2 weeks to finish it, or you start again and you finish it within 1 week.
or a few days, a day.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I suppose realistically, you'd probably take the less time option, but there's a bit of satisfaction in wrangling something into shape. Like, you know, it takes you a while. I've probably got past that stage of my career though, where I'll just take the easy
there's a bit of it where you just like
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
just fudging all the wrong bits around, and they're still the wrong bits, but you're still just like trying to put the wrong bits in the right place, and it never quite works.
With painting, with acrylic especially, you know, it does. No matter how much you try and stop it, it does start to show. Like the texture is not. I don't think it's a very good look. You know, with oil, it's fine. You know, it kind of looks cool.
Yeah.
But when you overwork an acrylic painting, keep putting on the wrong layers, no matter how much you try and smooth them out, it starts to show. And at the moment I don't know. I've got two that I just don't know whether to just start again. But the worst one is if you do start again with all these new ideas that you're going to smash it, and you pretty much get to the same part again, and you're like, oh my God, now that was a waste of time.
Yeah.
Now I really don't know what to do.
Do you ever? It happens to me a couple of times, but it happened to me just this week. I learned some new technique or some additional skill in terms of, for me, mixing down music, but just some additional skill within your artwork, and it improves your product a little bit. And you go, all those 14 albums I made last year could have just been a little bit better if I'd fucking knew.
Yeah.
Well,
really annoying.
That's the classic when you go back and say, if you did do that and you go back with that one new thing and you put it on all your old music, you know, it'd probably be a bit much. You'd be like, I think you've overdone it. It's like when someone discovers reverb for the first time and puts it on all of their stuff. Yeah. It's like, I get it, but you know, doesn't apply for everything. Doesn't. It's a funny one. That it's just it's more annoying than a time-saving one when it's actually a difference that is perceivable, if you know what I mean. Like there's knowing a shortcut, like, oh, I could have saved loads of time doing that. But when it's something that actually changes it for the better, like I often find it with photography editing techniques. I just want to go through my entire back catalogue and just re-edit everything just to see what it looks like in this new way. But you can't really too much in it.
Yeah. I mean, like you say, it's interesting maybe to try it once or twice on some old stuff, which is what I did, and I went, sounds better. That.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. What was this, like compressors and shit?
It was a bit of a technique to sort of like make the low end sound a bit fatter. And it's like
on like laptop speakers.
Yeah, just all like just generally on your bass, get your bass and your kick to sound a bit fatter. And it is like it's a kind of process that you could do retrofit onto most of your stuff. You could stick it on the master bus or whatever. But fuck it.
On an acoustic guitar.
Ring up all my publishers and go, and you just take them albums off and I'll
send you a new copy.
Yeah. But
that's the funny one, that when you put something up that gets quite a few views and but then you kind of see something that you got wrong with it and you don't know whether to take it down, and even though it got quite a good set of views and a good set of comments, you're like, but it could be a tiny bit better. It's right here. Should I just sack it off and put it up again?
Yeah. You see, I guess that's an indicator that the general public, or like people who aren't you, basically, probably haven't even noticed that, or because they're not in the position to be able to A/B compare comparisonize. I almost said.
That's it. Because if you played the two versions to us, like sequentially, without saying anything, probably wouldn't notice. But if you say, "Oh, listen to how much fatter this is in the bass," you know.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah. I mean,
they're funny, aren't they? Yeah, stuff like that. The tech stuff, where, I mean, that's a good one. The bass one. I mean, that is. But you could put it up, and I wouldn't be like, this would be better if I could hear more low end.
Yeah,
you know,
I've never heard you say that.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't think I would ever want to be someone who posts comparisons, going, which one do you prefer?
Yeah. You see, when that
Soppy bollocks.
that mastering video where he's mastering Happy, is it?
Yeah.
That's, you don't even need to be told like that they sound different, because they've, and that's like, I'd be pretty happy if I had made the song sound like it before mastering. Do you know what I mean?
That's a good example. Yeah, I mean, yeah, when he literally turns it with his knob, with a knob on his. It's such a great comparison, that, because they're, as you say, they're both good, but for different reasons. Like, you appreciate how he's mastered it, but the original is great because it's not all brought together. It's, you can hear all the different instruments. It's like raw versus polished, but sometimes the raw is good as well, isn't it?
That's a good example of someone really knowing the sort of the onward going workflow, like what is upstream of your process, to use a horrible phrase. But you that guy, whoever mixed it, knows that exactly what's going to happen in the mastering process, so he doesn't need to go and make certain things fatter, because he knows that's not really up to him.
Latitude, aren't you, for him to do what he wants with it, basically. That's the idea.
Do you ever think, when you're having quite a hard day mentally with what you're trying to do, and it's quite frustrating, that you try and picture someone whose job they enjoy, but it's not like they kind of know, as you say with the mastering, something like that, he kind of knows what he has to do, still enjoys it, but it doesn't really test him. And sometimes you think, God, I'd quite like that at the moment. Like with art, there's a lot of artists that I love their work, but it's it's kind of like blocks of color and patterns and stuff like that, and they just do loads of them. And sometimes I just think, like, that seems like quite a relaxing way to paint, but there must be a reason I'm not doing that.
That mastering guy, because these works, I can't remember what the mastering studio was, but it's super high end, and they're obviously only dealing with high end mix studios and mix engineers. I can't imagine he ever gets anything which is really causing him any problems. This mix is really shit.
Everything's peaking.
Yeah, it's because imagine everything that he gets, he just it's kind of roughly the same process. So I don't think, whilst they are extremely skilled and all that, I don't think I would get enough out of that job.
No,
because you're just dealing with high end content all the time, and it's like, well, work's pretty much done for me.
I suppose, to be fair, anyone who's a high end masterer of songs, they must have earned their way there, and they must be just happy to have the right equipment, because you always want to buy something.
Just because we're talking about the song.
That literally stops me in my tracks, Rob, at any point I'm making. It comes through the screen, your finger. Were you going to say something then?
No, I was just saying, you referenced the song that you started this whole conversation off, so I was just pointing that out.
Oh, right. I've totally lost me. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
No, I do appreciate that. It's probably... It's probably worked for a long time to get to the position where you don't have to work with shit songs for master it for a $5, mate.
But the funny thing is, when you try when you try something a bit new, so over the weekend I've been making this mask, and I'm super excited to do it, but there are points when you think what you're doing as the main thing still is what you want to do as the main thing by taking a break. When I'm not doing well with the main thing I'm doing, I literally want to sometimes just jump ship. But then when I do try, especially at the weekend, something quite different, once the first novelty of it is gone and it becomes its own challenge, which is great when you realize those things. But it is funny how many times I'm I'm fucking bored of this other thing now.
I think it's getting a bit older as well, and you realise that like you'd have to go and learn something from the beginning again, and like,
Yeah,
God, that's a ball ache, isn't it? Like,
it's
that
a
takes
long
while.
thing, that, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I'm
to
not
be a
really up for it.
gymnast at this point from
Well,
scratch.
nightmare, wouldn't it?
What would you
Good
specialize
year for
in?
me.
I would maybe do, the parallel bars. I've always liked the
nice.
look of. Loads of people say the rings, but I never had an interest in the rings. I like the parallel bars. I think they've got some.
Yeah.
You
Straight
Carl?
up pole vaulting for me.
Pole voting, yeah, in
I'm not even sure.
gymnastics.
I don't know what else is in.
Fucking pole vaulting, mate.
That's athletics, isn't it? I don't know. I do that flipping across that bouncy board.
Yeah, maybe the
tumble.
floor,
Yeah.
the big square floor. Trampoline. Is that gymnastics? I guess trampoline.
Big square floor, mate.
Yeah.
Big square bouncy
Trampoline, no,
floor.
not in gymnastics, no. But it is. Yeah,
surely trampoline isn't athletic, is it?
It's not. No.
What is
Trampolining is trampolining, I think. Yeah.
It's in its own division.
Yeah. Well, there's floor. There's pole. No, there's not. There's the vault. The horse.
The horse, isn't it? Yeah, where you spin down there.
Yeah, the horse.
horse.
That once they get going on that, it's well cheeky, man.
I think I'd probably invent a new one and do the horse and hoop.
Just
combine it with a ring.
Yeah, one ring and a horse.
Yeah, it's a bit limiting, like the rings, but you're only allowed to use one ring.
Yeah.
Mainly pull-ups.
I don't do the rings, do the ring. It's funny, we watched when the Beijing Olympics was on. Me and Tom were watching it years ago, and we got super excited about gymnastics and started ringing around all the leisure centres trying to like sort out to go on to classes. I mean, we must have been about 28 or something. And we were well out of it. Like they weren't having it at all. No, the classes are for kids. Like there's none for adults around here. Like fully excluded, discriminated against for our age.
Yeah.
It was really like it was pretty.
It should just be able to go into the same classes as the kids. Sure, it's being taught by adults. It's not being taught by kids.
No, we wanted to get straight into the hardcore shit.
Yeah, well, that's probably what they knew, and not having these two idiots here.
Yeah, no.
Obviously, been drinking all day.
I don't know. Yeah. Hey, mate. I want to be a walking gymnast.
Smelly men trying to do gym work.
I've just watched my mate do a fucking backflip in my garden. I reckon we're ready for it.
Spot me. Too much discipline.
Too much discipline, yeah. You can't really drink that much. I'm pretty sure gymnasts look after their health better than we do.
Yeah, I could be a gymnast for like a month or two.
Yeah, January.
But then I'd get withdrawals. I'm doing the London Marathon in October. It kind of got jumped a year, and now it's it already feels like it's creeping up. Like shit, man.
Yeah, that's not far away.
A lot of got to really go for it, you know.
Yeah.
A guy I was talking to recently though, and he runs like. Can that be right? 200k a week?
That's not that much.
Yeah, and I was like, do you listen to?
How many have you done, Andy?
No. But people around here
completed it, mate. Completed it.
People around here run that much.
But he said he doesn't. I was like, do you listen to music or podcasts? And he's like, no, I find it slow. I find the runs are slower when I listen to music, which, I was pretty surprised about because that's the last thing that I would associate it with. But maybe he's right. Well,
I used to make like hour long mixes, 2 hour long mixes of tempo specific, like music for, I can't remember what the lady's company was now, for running to in the gym. And she was like, and every 20 minutes it needs to like go up by 10 BPM and then drop back and then up and down, up and down. You have to basically make a 2 hour long song.
Yeah.
Is there a bit where dog whistling starts coming in, doing happy birthday at the very peak? Yeah, there's quite a lot of them on YouTube. There's like
Yeah.
2-hour mixes and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah,
I quite liked it with I quite liked went through a phase of running through the forests in Leeds at like 7 a.m. with podcasts on, and it all fit quite nicely together. Running through a forest is pretty sweet. Especially when it's like early and you're kicking off the day like that. Noel Gallagher was saying, I listened to some recently, and he was saying that like when he was working out every day, like on cycling and stuff, he said he was just like, I was just knackered all the time. And, you know, he said, I only started to lose weight when I worked out less. It's a funny one with working out and stuff, because, you know, the way that it's portrayed, you know, is like the people who work out every day, and it's like, you know, it gives you all this energy. But from doing it in the past, you are knackered, aren't you? A lot.
Yeah.
Got to find balance. Turned into a fitness channel.
Really, really basic fitness advice.
Yeah.
Do less exercise.
Giving advice.
Do less exercise and drink more beer.
My dad chopped the end of his finger off with a saw.
When?
Don't know. I was on holiday with him.
Is that an overreaction?
Like a few weeks ago when I was on holiday with him, I was like, "What's going on with the end of your finger?" And he was like, "Yeah, I chopped it off in a chop saw." I was like, "All right."
Oh my god! How much?
It's like sort of like the side, and like, so it's kind of like, I mean, it's quite.
Well, finger stuff really goes through me, man. That's gross.
And he was like, "Yeah, it's pretty painful." Yeah.
That's your dad, yeah. It's really painful. You don't want to do a full podcast about it then?
No, I just thought it was a highlight.
Get him on as a guest.
I would.
That's another thing we were going to cover, wasn't it? Themes
within your own work. Yeah.
Themes of your own work. Yeah.
Well, like the things that you sort of So for me, I guess it would be like techniques that you employ on a regular basis that kind of like gives your an overall a sound that kind of like encompasses everything that you do. I guess.
I was thinking more overarching themes, really, like the abstract themes, but themes is an open thing, really. Yeah. Like most of my work now, I've realised tends to feature around like, you know, naturey, outdoorsy stuff. Okay, yeah. And like that seems to be something that I keep coming back to as a theme to carry me forwards, if you know what I mean. Yeah. I just wonder, you probably don't work in that way in what you do, really, though, with music. It's a bit of a
It's difficult. If I was, I think I will fall into something along those lines with the Twitch channel, and with sort of more, let's say, artist style music. So you're defining a sound. People are coming and want to hear, like, you know, your new album because they know what they're going to get, essentially. Whereas on a commercial side, for me, it doesn't really work to have everything sounding the same because you're making different genres. But
that's it, innit?
I'll definitely be interested to see what sound. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I started the Twitch channel, was so that I could, you know, try and develop a sound for myself. Because like having a fan base who like your sound is different to having clients who basically like your way, the way that you can interpret a brief. Really, is what they're paying for, isn't it? Yeah. It's two different things.
Yeah, it's that's exactly it, and that's where some of the frustration comes, and always will do. I think when it feels like you're getting too good at being the professional, and you wonder, am I losing valuable time sometimes, not reaching a potential in another area?
I think I'd find it too stressful being just an artist and just trying to sell records, maintain a fan base, and play gigs. I mean, I don't want to be playing gigs, really. be asked for that. But I think I'd find it, because it seems like a much more unstable like revenue stream or collection of revenue streams than client work. Maybe an artist would say differently. They go, well, you've got to rely on clients and all this sort of stuff. So it's probably just because I'm more immersed in the client world that I've got that opinion. I don't know.
It's probably easier to make money with what you do, though, I should imagine.
From clients?
Yeah. And, like, keep that going once you get your name out than it is to, trying to make your name in the musical world. It's difficult, isn't it? Like
I would say, sometimes it just takes one day of going over to the other side to taste the water. Taste the water. That's not. Test the water.
Taste the water in your neighbour's pond, mate.
Which when I say that and you go, yeah. So I said it wrong. Sometimes it doesn't take much. To go, I'm good where I am.
That's interesting. Yeah,
I have that with gigs where the ones that are much better pay and the balances. I would love to do like small venues, with kind of younger, sort of a bit more of somewhere that I'd go out to watch a gig. I'd like to do more like that, but like I'd have to dedicate just kind of having them as the aim, where I'm sort of,
that's it.
And it would be quite a jump down in scale of quite a few things. And it probably wouldn't take me long.
It's quite a weird position. I think like there's a few similarities between all of us actually in this, in that like what you're doing. I think yours is probably the most prominent. Is like when you go into these business conferences and doing these shows for people. And like we're the same, we get people in, the showy bosses who are watching us do our work, and we're like these little, I don't know, like, hey, check these guys out, look what they do, isn't it? Like, like this other person. It's just can be weird scenario sometimes. Just like a load of people who don't really care about what you do, watching you do it. I don't know. It's a very odd thing. It can be a little bit depressing sometimes, I find.
Can't win, really.
That's it. You either do that or you're a skint, but probably really talented because you've spent all your time perfecting your craft.
The skint thing. It's so tough. It's like you don't want to go back to that if you've managed to overcome that. You don't really want to risk going back to that, but I don't know.
Balance again. It is balance again, isn't it? We've come to this point before in this chat that it's finding that balance. And giving yourself enough time to be skint for a little while in that sort of frame of mind, but still have the money coming in. Not put everything into earning money. Otherwise, I think you do go a little bit doolally.
Yeah.
I think they get that a lot with YouTubers, where people want to just suddenly they see they've watched enough and they're like, right, I'm gonna be a YouTuber, and they just ditch the job that they've got.
End up being another YouTuber talking about how to do YouTube. Like that's what danger of where you end up if you're pumping a video out every week, isn't it? like,
5 tips.
How to grow organically on YouTube in 2021.
How to get your first 100 subscribers. How to get your first 200 subscribers. I've got a video relevant for next week. Yeah. Can you still be a YouTuber in 2021? Yeah, but keep your fucking job.
How much do I really earn? That's the ones they. And they go, well, this. Watch a few of them on like some people who I fairly respect, like YouTube, like music makers on YouTube, and you look at it and you go, it seems like I could see flaws in their like business model straight away. It's like you're making all this music and you're selling it, like that Rachel Collier, who's obviously successful on YouTube up to a certain point, and she obviously gets commissions and client work. but she does a lot of stuff on her Bandcamp, and she goes, it was like over the last 6 months, I made like $18 on my Bandcamp, and it's like, well, don't get that music. Like, you've got enough profile, you could probably get that licensed for some adverts and earn fucking some serious coin. But that's the difference between maybe, wanting to put something out for fans rather than wanting everything to be a commodity, like a corporate commodity. But if you're gonna, you shouldn't complain about it on the internet. Then.
No, that's
yeah. Some of the price scales, some of the money that people say how much they get from videos and that. Yeah, it's a tough one because they've already made about 200 videos to get to that point, and it's still often certain videos and prices. Yeah, how much they're getting paid. It is. Don't know. You've got to be doing it for the right reasons in the first place. The best is like when it just happens to start making you money, but go all in on it. Like this is it. It would be a lot. It's going to be a long journey, isn't it? Really.
I think really for that you need I've thought about this, and I'd have probably 3 or 4 different channels, and have one of them like what I'm doing, which would be like the one that I care about, and then just have another 3 others that were just I don't know, do different burger recipes or cocktails or paranormal, top 5 ghosts, all that
different
sort of stuff.
Burger recipes straight off the bat.
Well, I used to work for a when I worked in that food thing, I thought about doing it then. I was just was watching loads.
Oh, like
of
the little just top down, quick cuts stuff.
Yeah, and there's they get loads of views, and I just thought there was no burger one. And I was like, man, surely people would love that. I think that's it. If you're going to do it seriously, you probably need 4 or 5 different channels that you're working on constantly.
Yeah,
and, you have to.
Well, they do like a clip channel of the channel. I've seen that more from Joe Rogan doing it. I've seen more people do it because his clips one has got almost as many followers, so he's getting 2 revenues from that.
Yeah,
I watched a. It was in my my suggested videos, and it was like an hour long, and it was like it's called like professional lawn care or something like this, US, and it was just like this American guy who goes and
send us the link.
goes and cuts the grass around the like in America they have the wooden houses and they've got big gardens and they're all derelict, so he just goes and the council obviously pay him whatever. And he just cuts the grass down in these massively overgrown gardens and talks about it. And it's an hour long. I didn't watch the whole hour, obviously. And he's got 100,000 subscribers or something. And he's got,
I honestly think I could, if I had something like that, I just happened to get on it, I would make loads of YouTube videos. If it's a doing thing like that, where I'm in another garden today, the garden is the difference. So you just need to turn up and film.
Yeah.
And it's garden, that is the different content between one video and the next. It's different garden, so it's slightly different content. I'm really confident I'd smash out loads. There's a guy who cleans pools, and I've watched about 4 of his videos. He's just cleaning swimming pools. I don't watch TV, but I watch that.
I've watched any television for the last year. I've watched
TV. I don't watch that.
In 20 hours of a guy cleaning pools, though.
It's turned his job into a sort of job which he probably was all right. Didn't get he makes more from his talking about his job than actually making his job, doing his job.
Yeah.
Funny, really.
And then eventually bring out your own lawnmower.
The pool guy
off that. Using a lawnmower to clean a pool.
Really
yeah. Well, we'll talk about. Should we talk about themes next week? Or have we covered it? Is that it?
Yeah,
that's themes covered.
Themes and muses didn't really go very far.
I don't think we've stayed on topic for as long as we ever planned to. I reckon sort of the first 20 minutes we'll talk about the topic and then start talking about American football or something. Which I'm fine with.
I see WWE the wrestling.
Yeah.
If everyone's angry, all the fans are angry because there was two guys having a match, wrestling, and then for some reason, well,
15 love.
a load of like sort of undead zombies came in and they had to fight off the zombies. Right, all the fans are going, well, we've kind of like worked for years to try and keep like the storylines at least partly credible and try and get and then suddenly someone's decided that some zombie should come in and drag two wrestlers off to their death through a door.
Yeah, it's almost like it's staged at that point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Real zombies.
I don't know what, because I don't know what the commentators. I wonder if the commentators sort of were like, "What is this?" I'd love to see it.
Well, I'll have a look.
All convinced that wrestling was better when we had it. So.
Yeah.
Although zombies, I would be into that if I was young.
Mm.
That's true. Depends.
It's not for us anymore, is it? It's not for us anymore.
No.
So
that's the conclusion. We don't like wrestling anymore.
No.
That's the conclusion of this week's show.
Right. Yeah. Hi,
we
Rob.
don't like wrestling. We don't like wrestling, and tell your children if you cut the end of your finger off.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say. They'd take away points from tonight.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Ugh. Goes through me that.
Jane did it to hers. She cut it off with a Stanley knife, like right down the centre of the fingernail.
I don't.
Out the side. So I just stuck it back on and put a bit of sellotape around it. It took again.
Yeah. It's quite a robust thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right,
Can't feel anything there.
Leave it there, shall we?
Hi.
On to a nice one. We'll see you again next